So, welcome to Bajillion Ways to Die, Theater of the Mind, time travel genre, two-page roleplay by Better Games. Now, two-page roleplay is exactly that. There are only 2 pages to this roleplay booklet. If you buy it in the first week or so that it's up on DriveThru, maybe cost you $1. A year from now, could be gone forever. I promise nothing. All right, so let's take a look. I will make a wild guess at my name. I'm going to make a wild guess and call myself Benedict Arnold. And I'm going to be a cyborg here. And but my true identity is unknown. That's part of the roleplay aspect of the game. I am a cyborg that has somebody's DNA and soul put into it. I think it's Benedict Arnold. I have some clues along the way that have pointed at me in that direction, but nothing definitive. There's no eureka moment that I know. Now, why can't I just take my DNA and compare it to some sort of master database? Where is that master database? Now, this is time travel, so I'm going to be also using the Space Gamer website's time twister tool to generate John bar hinges. And I'm going to start by trying to save Cleopatra. Now, I start with destined status. That means I'm +1 of the dice. And because I'm a cyborg, I'm best at direct and violent actions. Boy, that could be fun. And here's my starting map, so to speak. And again, I generated this right with the tool. And I'm in the era where the Gauls and the Romans, and I'm going to try to complete John bar hinge B. If you can see this, great. Otherwise, you just have to download the tool and experiment for your own self. I'm going to intervene and mitigate an end. No. I'm going to John bar hinge A. Boy, am I confused. Boy, it was a tough time getting set up. I don't know what it is about Saturday nights with gaming. Nothing to do with Roll20 as a problem, except for the fact that I had to use Mozilla here, and I lost my my scroll bars on the bottom. Will this be my last video? Oh, it always seems like it will be. Seduce and safeguard the era's wild card, Cleopatra, knowing her vanity will cause Romans to abandon democracy and personal freedoms. That sounds easy. No, it sounds terrible. All right, I'm going to go to the bottom here in the second sheet of two-page roleplay, Bajillion Ways to Die, and I'm going to make a die 6 roll on this, investigating for clarity. Now, on my group size is 1, so I need to do 1 investigate for clarity and 1 John bar hinge step. Ideally, if I'm playing a full campaign, I'm going to want 6s for both of those so I can move to the climax, but I'm just going to go 1 and 2 in this demo. So let me give me my first die 6 of the game, and it's going to be a 4. And so I'm going to defeat an enemy agent and a die 6 minions. Oh, that should be a piece of cake for a cyborg. So I'm going to, the enemy agent in this era, you know, I don't want to pick somebody famous, you know, like Julius Caesar. But it'll be some sort of traveler from a distant time and place or in the future. And here comes Benedict Cumberbatch to attack me. And he brought 6 of his goons with him. And so I enter the time stream and arrive in the Roman period, and it is a transition from the Republic to the Empire. I'm going to safeguard Cleopatra, as I said, and this all came off of the Time Twister. And I'm going to make a roll here, and I'm going to make a roll on, going back up to this, 2 pages, a direct and violent action. I'm destined status, so I add 1 to my dice roll. So here comes my 2 dice, and take the better. And I rolled a 2 and a 4. The better is a 4. And I add 1 to that and get a 5. And with that 5 roll, I am in melee with Benedict Cumberbatch. And I can defeat a minion. And there is a D6 minions. How many goons did he bring with him? He brought with him 2 goons. So now it's Benedict and 1 goon. And let me make a second roll here. Same table. A 2. Now that's a terrible roll. A 2 is going to be a mishap. But I get to add 1 to the roll. Did I roll just a single die? I rolled just a single die. I get to roll 2 and take the better. How about a 5 plus 1 for my destined status is going to be a 6. A 6 is I can defeat all enemy minions, there's only 1 left, or a single agent, or gain a step, requiring direct acts. Now all the John bar hinges have various steps. In this early era, early period of 25, most of the steps are 3. And you make this up as a referee if you don't want to use the Excel spreadsheets that I provided. If you like to imagine this stuff on your own. And here we go with my roll of a. So if Benedict has gone down, nice plasma fire to the chin there. And I got one more minion that I got to do. 2 dice, take the better. 7. Down goes that other minion. Now I could continue playing this where I would investigate for clarity and keep rolling, defeating various steps of minions until I got the full 6, which allows me to reach a story's historic NPC. Maybe I'm going to meet Mark Anthony here, and he's going to tell me where Cleopatra is. And that would move me to activate the John Bar hinge, and I would keep rolling on this table until I get that 6 to where I went into the climax and essentially safeguarded, as the John Bar hinge requires, Cleopatra and keep her alive. Now, normally in history she dies, so I'm changing history by doing this. Am I telling you something you don't know? I hope not. But here, as in my demo, I'm just going to go to the next table here that I've completed the first table. Perfectly fine. I'm running my own game. It's single d6 this time. Should I take that 2 I rolled before? It's a 3. And a 3 is going to be gain either a direct step or an enigma step. Simple game. An enigma step would be harder for me to do as a cyborg, but certainly I can get direct axe, a step requiring direct axe on a roll of a 6. 2 dice, taking the better. It's a 4. The game is designed so you can play with casual gamers on the fly. You can pick it up and play it. And if you want to develop a full-blown time travel campaign, the rules are certainly expandable, and every referee is going to be modding his own game, or game master, as you call them. And a 4 becomes a 5. Now, a 5 is a melee. It defeats a minion, or gain a modifier to treat any 5 as a 6. Now, I need a 6 in direct axe, but I am adding 1 to my dice roll because I still have destined status. Do I want to take that 5 as 6? In some ways, I sort of have to, and by taking the modifier, it adds a step or an enemy agent. So I need to get 2 direct steps in order to win this portion of my game and get past it. So 2 steps to do, but I'm now treating 5s as 6. Here comes my 2 dice. It's a 3, terrible roll, but I did not complete any steps, but a 3 becomes a 4 with destined status. I'm reckless. I'm going to defeat a minion or gain a modifier, which I'm going to have to do, of any 4 now as a 6. So 4s and 5s also become 6s, but I have 3 direct steps that I need to complete. Can I get the first one? Here goes my first rolls. And a 4. A 4 plus 1 is a 5 because I'm destined. 5 becomes 6. I'm down to 2. Here comes the next one. A 6. Easy peasy. Done. And a 3. Now 3 plus 1 for destined status. I become a 4. And I've completed all the steps that I need in order to get those direct acts to reduce the steps that are required to safeguard Cleopatra. Now, should I go to the last act here in order to defeat the last agent, take 1 more roll on this tables? I could, or I can just go into the time travel aspect of this. Now, when I safeguard Cleopatra and keep her alive in the Roman era, see if I can right-click on this and move it over. This would be the next thing that was generated in the tool itself. Now, I could, woo, that was fun. Okay. In the tool itself, I generated this little button on the map. Now, you do not have to use the tool. You can, as the game master, decide, well, by protecting Cleopatra, your next era is going to be such and such and such. But for me, the fairness comes in where the code is running the game. I'm not even sure where all this is going myself as I play. Now, I have completed the task. You can see some of the stuff I did offline just to have some visual aids for you all. And I have seduced and safeguarded Cleopatra, and now it produced this little button. So in the game, I would actually push the little button. I can push it all day here and roll 20 and it won't do anything. All I can do is make big rings around it here in the game. But after I do push that in the Time Twister program, I would then move over to this little section. Whee! And I have advanced in the next era and our next period, and it happens to be period 34. There seems to be a stutter here, and that's what happens with time. You're moving from sets of John Bar hinges to sets of John Bar hinges. You're not actually moving from one event to another event to another event except in the jumps of time. Now, a John bar hinge, named after the author that first coined the phrase, is an event that's significant to the timeline and will allow the time to branch. Okay. Now, in this case, I got the Varangians versus the Zoroastrians. So on success, I hit that button, and on we went. I went from period 25 to period 34, and I'm in the middle of the Varangians fighting the Zoroastrians, somewhere in the area of the Levant. I read the John bar hinges here, and I could make my own up, or I could just make my own up. But where's the fun in working hard to actually run the game? When the tool is on the Space Gamer site, you can always grab it, and you can even play it solo. There's solo modes that you can do. And John bar hinge 2 looks interesting to me. Now, I could initiate a plot to cause the Zoroastrians and its rival Varangians instability. Boring. But I could assassinate the era's wildcard Marco Polo. Now, what would a cyborg who thinks he's Benedict Arnold, do? I think we're going to assassinate Marco Polo here. So this will be the next thing I'm going to try to do. I'm going to go ahead from this era 34, and activate John bar hinge B and kill Marco Polo. You also know when I went from that previous era, I think it was 25, to this one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 serious harms, serious enemies have entered the timeline by that action. And if I was playing a broader campaign, I might have to try to defeat alien elements, or the Luddites, or the return of the Fae, etc. And again, all in the tool. And so I need to go back to what? This table here? Yeah, I'm going to roll a d6 and see what I have to do to defeat Marco Polo. So here comes my die to defeat Marco Polo. It sounds like I'm drunk. I'm not drunk yet. Okay, 4. Now, a 4 on my table here says, defeat enemy agent and d6 minions. Wow, is Benedict back? You know, because you really never defeat anyone in time travel, because he might have actually existed in an earlier era and is just sending clones on to get me, or he might be in some sort of time travel loop, like this is Edge of Tomorrow or a Groundhog Day, and he might be coming back. Here comes Benedict. And how many people did he bring with him this time? He had 2 the last time, he brought 3, so he got one more minion than before. Let me roll a d6, 2d6, because I'm a cyborg, and I add 1 to the best roll, and I get a 4. Now that 4 would tell me that I'm reckless, defeat a minion, or gain a modifier to treat a 4 as a 6. That's not bad here. But doing that will add a step to the timeline or an enemy agent. So there could be 2 enemy agents. Maybe there's 2 Benedict Cumberbatch with his 3 minions. And I will take the result that I will now treat 4s as 6s. I go back to this game here, this map here, rolled a 6. A 6, I kill one of the Benedict Cumberbatch. I kill the more evil of the 2. Although that's hard to decide which one is the more evil. And here comes my second roll, 6. I think both of the Bennies are gone down. Now I got 3 minor minions that I still have to defeat with my plasma weaponry. I got high-tech stuff. Now note that's a 3. When you roll a 3 and I add 1 for destined status becoming a 4, I took that modifier to treat 4s as 6s. And with a 6, I can defeat all enemy minions, so they just went down. If this game seems really easy to you, it's meant to be really easy. It's supposed to be a fun lark. But what happens is the more dice you start rolling, the more often those pairs of dice are going to come up, because a pair of 1s is only 1 in every 36. So if you make 36 rolls in this game, you are on statistically likely to roll that snake eyes, and that's going to be the best result is 1 plus 1 for destined status is a 2. Everyone has lost their destined status. Or I'm going to get some 3s and lose my ability to fight. Bad events tend to cascade together, too, as they start to happen. The more dice you roll, it's a game where the more dice you roll, the worse things become. And here we go. I just got some good rolls here at the beginning. And we have defeated Benedict Cumberbatch, but I said I would play the other half of this as well. Single die 6, a 5 on my referee tables. When I'm trying to activate the John bar hinge steps, I rolled a 5, gain a direct step. Now if I rolled a 4 and I had to gain an enigma step, I would have to go to a different table, and I would have to gain an enigma step, I would have to take tactical and researched results. But I, as a cyborg, I only get to roll 1 die on that table. So it's better that I'm over here. And I need a direct act. This should be the final roll of the game, I think. Here it comes. 2 dice. Adding 1 for destined status. Got myself a 6. That 6 is that I defeated all enemy minions. There weren't any. A single agent. Wasn't any. Gain a step of direct action. That's exactly what I needed to do in order to complete this second step. And I have... Did I murder? Well, we'll use the politer, assassinated Marco Polo. So he's gone from the timeline, and, you know, what happens then? So when I kill Marco Polo, let me slide this over. I normally use Edge for this, but for some reason, Edge was no longer allowing me to record with my game console. They just keep throwing up roadblocks. Okay, here you go. So when I do that task complete, it's going to create a stagnation event. So... and you can see why, you know, killing Marco Polo, it's going to eliminate trade, it's going to eliminate the exchange of cultures, and so we have a stagnation event. Maybe I should go back and instead, you know, try to take care of Flavius, a Zoroastrian general. Gosh, this is a messed up part of the timeline, Rise of New Creeds. But, so we have our outcome still in period 34. It's a big clock, it meets stagnation. And that can happen when you keep lands from meeting. And so I would push it on my tool, or I would imagine what that stagnation would cause, and I would find myself over here. Whee! And it's interesting, and I was able to sort of make a box. Okay, I'm making a box. And I ended up in the Mongol era. Now, the Mongol era, you know, I can read the technology and innovation among the humans does not occur in a uniform way, etc., etc. It tells me the fact that I'm no longer connected for intel information to the artifact, the time anomaly itself. And what do I want to do here? Assassinate Genghis Khan? Oh, no, no. Assassinate Galileo? Wow, what's he doing in this era? No, you know, I'm not feeling anything. So in the tool itself, I can always advance around the eras without activating John bar steps, because there's a whole timeline that's created with every John bar step. It's the past stays the same, so I might have been able to go back into the past and visit the Romans again. But when I go forward, I might find that, well, there once was one era, and now there's another. So I go forward a step in time. Step in time saves lives, and I end up in the Muscovites and the Swedes in the Reformation. Now this is more Cutlass oriented, and I can never turn down a Cutlass opportunity. And so I'm in period 46. Nah, that was I skipped over. I just went forward to period 47. Sometimes the periods are one apart, but as you saw before, I went from 25 to 36 when I jumped from the Roman era over to the new face with the Zoroastrians. And so it all depends on where the next set of important John bar hinges are located. And the ones in here are defeat the Swede leader Cromwell. Wow, he's out of place. Cromwell is normally in England. And assassinate the era's wildcard Luther. Or I could conspire to high-tech despoil the Muscovites and cause problems and infight. Wait a second. I got a chance to kill Luther? As a Catholic boy, that's a hard one to pass up. So I think I'm going to go ahead and take a shot at killing Martin Luther. And so it's a kill-kill game. Well, you know, what else are you going to think of a cyborg would do? And so I'm going to go ahead and take a bash on Martin Luther here. And so let me roll my die, a single die, to find out a 4. I go back to this table here. I'm going to defeat enemy agent and die 6 minions. Have we beat on Benedict enough? No. I don't think so. I think Benedict shows up, and this time he's got a full half dozen. He's got 6 guys with him, 6 blokes, as you British might say. And Benedict and 6 blokes is trying to protect Luther. Oh, well, let's see if my dice rolls whole here. 2 dice. Take the higher, add 1. I think there went another clone of Benedict Cumberbatch coming at me. And that could be the real person, Benedict. So there are some real people that appear in the timeline, not just dead ones. Real ones and dead ones. Well, everyone that came before you, are you really sure they're there, or are you trusting your history books? I trust the history books until I see this and realize that Cromwell was actually the head of the Swedes in my timeline. Can't convince me otherwise. But I still have that 6 minions to fight, 2 dice, take the higher, add 1, 7s. Look at all those 6s. Where are these when I'm playing for real? Not that I'm not playing for real. What is for real when you're dealing with time travel? And over there you can see that if I go back to my table here, defeat enemy, all enemy minions, I've done that. We go back to the actual John bar, 6, and it says to me, with a John bar 6, gain a final direct and enigma steps to move on. Okay, now this is where it gets a little bit harder for me. So in order to go on, I got to get 1 direct and 1 enigma. Now I can also roll on do something anything, and it has on a 6 gain both or gain either a direct or enigma. But I, as a cyborg, will take 2 dice 6 and take the lower rolls on this table. So that's the handicap there. I don't want to get anywhere near that. Let me get the direct action first and maybe pick up some modifiers here for my when I finally need to get the enigma step of tactical research. So here comes my rolls. I need to get 1 direct and 1 enigma step. 2 steps to finish this John bar junction and John bar hinge. Here comes my first roll, 2 dice, take the better, add 1, it's only a 4, but that's what I want in a way. I want to have the modifier that I'm going to treat 4s now as 6s, but that's going to add an enemy step or enemy agent. I'll add another Benedict coming in to hassle me. So I got a direct step, enigma step, and Benedict that I got to defeat here. Here comes my another roll, 2 dice, and a 5. Guess what? That's another good one for me. I can use the modifier and gain the ability to treat 5s as 6s. But that ends in an enemy agent. They're really piling on now. I got 2 Benedicts and a direct and an enigma. Here comes my rolls. 2 dice. 5. Add 1. Boom. Down goes an enemy agent. Or I can eliminate that direct add. I'm going to eliminate that direct act now. Now I also have plot armor. Now I can employ that in plot armor, and I can change my class for 1 event sequence, or I can rouse all the other players from unconsciousness if I'm playing multiplayer, or if I end the adventure with I could end the adventure with a clue to my actual historical origin. Maybe I like being thinking I'm the clone of Benedict Arnold, when in fact I may be the clone of Ney, or the clone of Charles Martel, or the clone of all these other Balboa, the clone of dozens upon dozens. No, and an infinite amount of people of minor historic merit that you can go ahead and pretend to be. The referee, the game master, he would deal with 4 players. He would secretly make 4 identities. The players themselves would pick historic identities they think they are, and then slowly get clues to know, well, what you picked was wrong, but you are from the same era. Like if you picked a Roman, no, you're not someone as powerful as Julius Caesar or Mark Antony, but you are from the Roman era, and those clues would allow you to eventually figure out who you are. Once you figure out who you are, you never lose destined status. And for the players, my own players who have played 2-players role play in every genre, it seems like, yet I still figure out even new ones to throw them in, they would know that that is a powerful addition to know who you are and always get +1 to your dice. And we move on to the next part here, and I'm rolling 2 dice. I am treating 4s as 6s, 5s as 6s, and I have 2 Benedicts and an enigma to beat. 2 dice, a 4. What do we treat? A 4 is a 6. Okay, so that 4 becomes a 6. I now had defeated the enemy minion, and I'm sort of forced to move over on this tactical and research table. I need this enigma result. I don't want to do it on do something anything because I've rolled 2 dice and take the lower. Now I'm still rolling 2 dice and adding 1. But here, because I'm a cyborg, I'm not a hologram. Holograms do tactical and research better. I'm just rolling 1 die and adding 1. Now I can roll 2 dice and take the lower, but I still got destined status and get a 1 in case I get scooted down on this table here. Rolling on the tactical and research, here comes my die. I'm looking for my my single die roll, because I only roll 1 die on that table, and I rolled a 5. And a 5, because of the previous stuff, a 5 becomes a 6, and because a 5 becomes a 6, I'm over here where my 5 would normally be gain an enigma step, but next time treated as 3, I can treat 5s as 6s. I have defeat 1 enemy or gain an Enigma step. And I needed that Enigma step. So, Martin Luther, you are not going to cause any trouble anymore. And all of those Protestant religions, they are gone from the timeline. And what does that do for me? Oh, 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 oh. I hope this is fun, watching an old man struggle with a mouse. And we're over in this one. Now note there's another era popped itself out when I completed that assassination of Martin Luther, when I'm using the tools here again. And that's because as you move around or have less than successful rolls, because I actually had to play this solo in the tool to get the ideas for this adventure, I would, now I could always just be playing the tool on another desktop, but I don't know how to record multiple screens. That's my problem, not yours. So there are 2 choices here. I'm going to click the one for imperialism and see what happens. Now, when I click the imperialism, I go off into period 51, and it looks like the American colonies in the Mohawk. Now, this would seem like a great time for Benedict Arnold to make himself known, or maybe redeem myself. But in a way, I don't really want to go relive the hassle of the past. For me, my own timeline is my own timeline. I always remember myself as Benedict Arnold, the guy that was a traitor to the American patriots. But you know, I'm trying to atone for that. And assassinate the era's wild card, John Calvin. John Calvin ended up, boy, that would be a twofer. I'm already close to being banned by YouTube for insinuating that it might help the world. It actually did help the world when I assassinated Martin Luther. You note that I have, well, helped me in the game. I now have less enemies after that result. There's only 3 of these red flags that are coming on here. But I'm going to probably just hit the forward. You know, what period becomes after 51? And that takes me over to period 67, the League of Nations versus the Prussians. Sounds like more boring time to me, but you know, if you're the type of person that hated unity in the world, it does lead to the fact that it doesn't seem like that we had a real unification of Germany here as I move through the timeline. And then I come over to, is this my last one? No, this is the next to the last one. I've advanced the time period. I created, this is all in the timeline. I haven't done any John Bar steps to change this yet. The capitalists are facing the Sino-Soviets. You can see by the fact that I jumped from to periods 67 to 72. It doesn't seem like there was a World War I, a World War II. Definitely, I'm seeing that the timeline has changed and the Germans have been totally eliminated. I never got my chance to take on baby Hitler with a ball bat. But let's go on from there and see how the timeline's going to end. And the timeline's going to end close to the end in period 93. Where we have this group calling themselves the Mayhem Stasis, is fighting the Godhead. Let me read some of the John Bar hinges here. This one would be 7 steps if I was playing in a group. Assassinate Godhead leader Hanks before command mistakes, loses the purity test wars. Well, this is the advantages of immortality in the future, because apparently it wasn't enough just to make a digitized version of Tom Hanks. Hollywood wanted him around forever so they can put him in movies. So I guess Tom Hanks took over the world. How about the alternate one and John Bar Hinge B? Do something that I cannot say, or the Secret Service will come after me. To Clinton, it could be his daughter. Yeah. And the final one would be conspire to high-tech to spoil the Mayhem Stasis and cause problems and shortages of labor. But again, that's neither here nor there. That's a little demo of a 2-page, what did I say? 2-page roleplay, time travel genre, theater of the mind on DriveThru. This weekend? I don't hold my arm, but don't bend my arm, but it probably is close enough. Well, more later.